One, let me just say from the very beginning, I don't believe that he's going to stay or be given a new deal. I don't. That's my own opinion on it. But we have to report on it because they are from credible sources. So I guess we'll get stuck into that. Where's the first time this came up today? Well, David Ornstein, I guess, had an exclusive where he said Liverpool expect Mo Salah to stay and are being planning for him for at least one more campaign. The 31-year-old has given no indication of wanting out and his contract will be addressed in due course. Saudi view is Salah intends to remain at Liverpool next season. So then we had another story come out, and this time was Paul Joyce. And Paul Joyce said, Mohamed Salah is expected to stay at Liverpool next season. Richard Hughes will lead talks on a fresh deal for Salah before the forward's contract ends in the summer of 2025. That was then followed up with, the intention is that Salah, who turns 32 in June, will have an important role to play in the club's future under Arne Slot. That was kind of, I don't want to say undermined, but if you go and read through more of this, there's a few bits and pieces that have come out over the last few hours that have seemed to dampen this down a little bit. There's one story from Paul Joyce that said there is little belief that Mohamed Salah wants to go to Saudi Arabia at this stage of his career. And finally, we end up with a piece from David Lynch, yes, it was David Lynch, who said, it would be unwise to suggest that an extended stay in its entirety is set in stone, not least because of the many variables outside of Liverpool's control that will come into play. The first thing is that Salah is understood to want a contract extension of at least a year, which, considering his £350,000 per week wages and the hints of decline this season, is far from a formality. For their part, Liverpool are open to the idea of wanting another year and letting a player who has served them well depart on a free transfer, as has been the case for a number of stellar servants down the years. Yet, if a new deal isn't forthcoming, you wonder whether Salah would wish to leverage his as yet undetermined standing to seek greater contractual certainty elsewhere. There is no question that the 31-year-old is keen to continue playing at the highest level for as long as possible and considers himself more than capable of doing so. So a lot to unpack there, right? You've got Liverpool clearly briefing today that their plan is to sit down with Mo and see what we can figure out. I am just very, very sceptical of Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards giving Mohamed Salah more money. Now, if Mohamed Salah is happy to stay for another year on the wages he's already on, I guess that's another conversation. To me, this just feels like posturing, and it feels like controlling the narrative. And I still believe that there will be something this summer that will cause a furore over Mohamed Salah's contract situation. So let me know what you guys think. I mean, I've no problem if Mo hangs around. It's not my decision to make. If the club decide that they're happy to sit down and try and negotiate with him, fair enough. But I'd be very surprised if we see him get the same money or a pay increase. I was also surprised, though, to hear from David Lynch that Mohamed Salah would look for at least a year. I thought he'd want more than that, in all honesty. I mean, if he's asking for a year's extension, I think that's reasonable. You know, a year's not too big a financial commitment for Liverpool to hand out there. Letting them leave for free, I don't know how I feel about that. You know, if Liverpool decide that they want to just see how this season goes, it's a dangerous game. But if you're willing to look at the end of that and say, okay, one more year with Salah, if we can't agree an extension with him within that year, he leaves for free, I think that would be a little bit foolish from us, in all honesty. But I did warn all the way through this that I don't like that we're in this situation, that the club have 1 year to go on Trent's deal, on Virgil's deal, and on Salah's deal. It makes me nervous. So I guess we'll start there tonight and see how you guys feel, and we'll work back through it all, and you guys can have your say. Sell him, it's the right time. Salah gone, please. Look, there was a poll, because you know we had our own poll here, and we asked, do you think it's time to sell Salah, yes or no? And 70% of you guys said yes. Well, Sky conducted their own poll today, and it's still open, I think, on the Sky app. And at the time that I voted, it said, should Mohamed Salah stay or go? That was the poll that Sky put up. I voted in it. I voted go. because I think it is time for him to move on. And 71% of the people who voted on the Sky app, it doesn't tell you how many now, but 71% of people who voted believe it is time for Mohamed Salah to go, and 29% believe he should stay. Now, of course, this could be skewed by opposition fans who are wishing him away, and that's absolutely possible. But what I can say is, it does kind of tally with the poll that we did here, asking you guys, who are mainly Liverpool fans, what you think should happen. So, from that point, I don't know where we're at here. I would feel letting him leave on a free would be the height of stupidity if you allowed him to go next summer. But I guess at the same time, if we can't agree an extension with him, then it's sell or he runs down his deal. It gets tricky, and this is what I said all along. I don't like the club doing this, letting us get to this position. Right, here we go. Right, first super chat from Pranav. How are you, bro? Thank you very much. Said, thing is, I don't think Mo himself wants to go to Saudi yet. Where else? PSG might be the only other option, so he may well end up staying. I don't disagree with much of what you've written there, Pranav. I do think Mohamed Salah can reasonably look at Saudi Arabia and think, nah, too good. I'm too good to go there yet. I don't think any of us would debate that. Do I think he can still deliver at Liverpool? Unsure is the honest answer. But do I think he's too good to give up playing in Europe and go and play in Saudi? Yeah, probably. I do think he's still levels above that, and I still think he has some to give in his career. I just don't know how comfortable I feel personally with Liverpool investing more money into an extension. But, you know, I'm happy to go with whatever the club want to do. You know, I'm contrary to what some people think, I have no wish to get Mo away from the club. My feeling is, if I was in Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards' position, I would look to sell. But I'm happy to support whatever the club decide to do. Danielson Granados, thank you, mate, for your super chat. You're very kind. Said, I've been okay with Salah out since last year, but 8 months ago, in training vid showed Salah was the most fit player. He was also pretty decent earlier. Just wondering if we've been underplaying his injury. It's a very fair question, mate. It's a very fair question. And it's one that I've been asking myself over the last few days when I've been thinking about this. Truth is, I guess we don't know the definitive answer to if Mohamed Salah's slump in form is because of overplaying, because of coming back from the injury and not being back to himself yet, if it's because of father time catching up on him, or if it's a little bit of all of it. But I think it's fair to say that he does need a rest. Whatever way you look at the situation with Mo, I would agree with anybody who says that the man has played a lot of football in recent years, pretty much non-stop without a break. So what I would like to see happen, if he stays at the club, and as I said, I don't know what's going to happen there, but if he does stay at the club, I do think he deserves a rest, and he needs a rest, because, you know, we can't have what's happening this season happen again. That at the business end of a season, we start to fall away. We should be strong at this point, and especially with Mo having obviously had the injury then, was away at the AFCON. These are all things that we have to weigh up as well. Like, when is the next AFCON, as an example? I don't know off the top of my head, but if Liverpool were to give Mo an extension, if there's no AFCON coming up, that could make life a bit easier. We know we won't be losing them mid-season. So, loads to get through. I just don't believe that Liverpool are going to give him a new deal. I just really feel like this is posturing from the club, trying to control the narrative, or at least not make it very obvious that they want to sell him. But I could be wrong. You know, that's just my opinion. Don't you think this is a shout that Mo is not for cheap, or Edwards doesn't want to risk sufficient change in case some others might leave? My personal take is that this is Liverpool saying, oh no, we plan on keeping Mo, and not going out there and publicly saying that they'll listen to offers. Because if they come out and say that they're going to listen to offers, well, you're going to annoy Mo, first and foremost, and his agent. And then, of course, you're going to have a whole plethora of people trying to signal that Liverpool are looking to cash in, and that would weaken your position. On the other hand, Mohamed Salah may want to stay in Europe and may want to continue at the top level, and the underlying numbers may suggest to Michael Edwards that this season, or the latter part of this season, was an anomaly because of the injury or whatnot. But my one sentence to summarise this for me is, I'll believe a new deal when I see it. That's the first thing I'd say. I'll believe a new deal from when I see it on the table and being signed. Until then, I'm very sceptical. Verge LCC said, I think we should start Mo for the rest of our game so we could at least get his form back and get him firing for next season. You could make an argument for the exact opposite, though. And I mean this sincerely without trying to sound like I'm trying to undermine him or anything. You could make an argument to say, let him off now. Let him head off on holiday, get a good long break, and bring him back in for pre-season. Like, realistically, we've 3 games to go. We're in Europe. It's not going to change. We're in the Champions League. One more point, I think, make sure that we finish in 3rd place. And I think we'll pick that up against Wolves on the last day regardless what. So you can make an argument to let Mo go off on holidays now and start a proper recuperation and a proper rest. Give him a nice long rest. If you're sincere about extending him, give him a nice long rest and then see what happens. I just feel very sceptical about it, though. I can't lie. I feel like this briefing from the club, a club that doesn't remember leak a lot of stuff, is now intentionally going to the media and saying the plan is for Mo to stay. It just doesn't smell right to me. It doesn't pass the smell test.